Mari from Mari's Miscellany. Welcome to my beginner's crochet class. I am so excited for you. I'm so happy. Every time that I decide to learn a new skill, I'm just really excited, and I'm always thinking ahead. You know, I'm going to make this and I'm going to make that, and it's so exciting. So I'm really excited for new students because it's just a whole new piece of the world that opens up to you when you learn a new skill. I'm going to ask you for a few things. The first thing is I need to know what yarn and what hook size that you're using. If you haven't got any materials yet, then allow me, if you will, to make a suggestion. I recommend that you start learning crochet with cotton yarn. And the reason for that is that when you're using cotton, we'll be able to have your first practice piece be something that's functional, like a washcloth. So what we're going to start you with is a square. We're going to start you with basically a washcloth. And if you do that with acrylic yarn, you won't really be able to use it as a washcloth because acrylic is not good for that. But if all you can get is acrylic to start with, that's fine. Just let me know something functional that you can make. Like I actually have a cat. She's right here actually. And when I need to practice something, I practice by making her a little blanket, just something she can lay on. And so that way, you know, she can't tell that I messed it up 7 times. But I love to start with functional pieces because I don't like wasting my time and I don't like wasting materials, and I don't want to have you make something that you can't actually find a use for. So let me know what yarn you can start with. I recommend the cotton yarn. There's a brand called Peaches and Cream, and I want to say that probably a good like maybe 90% of beginning crocheters use Peaches and Cream cotton yarn, and it is a fantastic yarn to start with. If you can't get a hold of that, and you can't get a hold of cotton yarn and all you can start with is acrylic, that's fine too. I'm actually going to be demonstrating with acrylic because I have some on hand. And this one is the Mainstays brand from Walmart, and it's $2 for this big skein. It is 7 ounces of yarn and 397 yards. So you can get lots of practice out of $2. If you are not at all familiar with yarn, then, and you don't have any materials at all, then you're going to want to look at the label. The label is going to give you a recommended hook size. I'm gonna hold this up so you can see these squares. The first thing that the yarn is going to tell you is the weight. So there's an actual yarn council that is working to standardize all of the terminology that we use for knit and crochet. And it's gonna get confusing if you're not already familiar with it. So if you, for example, if you haven't already knit, then you're not familiar with the yarn terms and the hook and needle sizes, it gets really confusing because there are some hooks that are in millimeters, some will have letters, and some will have numbers. So for example, this yarn recommends that you use a US hook size I or a hook size 9, that's the same thing, or 5.5 millimeters. So all of those numbers and letters mean the same size hook. If you do not already have that and can't find it, don't stress it too much. You can go one up or one down with relative ease and just a little bit of impact to the finished dimensions. But honestly, for the practice pieces that we're using, gauge is not really going to matter that much. So don't worry, don't stress too much about that. Get what you can, but make sure that it's within the range of one up or one down from the recommended size. Let's see. So when we talk about gauge, what we mean is This is telling us that when we use a hook size I or 9 with this yarn and we crochet something that is 4 inches by 4 inches, it should give us 12 stitches in a stitch called single crochet. It should give us 12 single crochets in each row and 15 rows in that 4 inches. Okay, so 12 stitches in 15 rows. It's going to be your 4 inch by 4 inch square. That's gauge. For the beginning projects that we do, gauge is not going to be that important. Gauge is going to matter down the road when you're making garments or when you're doing very specific designs. But for now, don't stress it too much. What else do we have here? Oh, and it even says, for example, that there's a pattern included in the label. And for the pattern that's written for this yarn, they're using a US size 8 or 5mm hook. So in the pattern on the yarn, they're not even using the recommended hook size. So don't stress that too much. One up, one down, you'll be fine. What I would like is if you would please reply with the yarn that you're working with. I need to know the size and the fiber content, and then let me know the hook size that you're going to be working with. And what else? Oh, and then also let me know if you have any previous experience. So are you already knitting, or have you crocheted years before but it's been a while? You know, let me know what your previous experience is so that I'll know ahead of time, you know, have a basic idea of if you're familiar with, you know, terminology and things like that. And okay, so that's it for now. This is the introduction. Once I find out the materials that you're working with, we will begin. I will do, and the way that I'm going to run the class is I'm going to start with the basics. So we're going to start with the foundation, chains, and then we'll do 1 stitch pattern every few rows. And I'm going to introduce the stitch that you're going to do, tell you how long you're going to do it for, and then that will be the end of that lesson. You'll work it and practice, work and practice, and then when you're ready, get back with me and let me know, okay, so I did that and here's my work. You could either take a picture of it or record a video, and then also let me know any problems that you had. Ideally, I would like a video of you doing the, you know, doing the lesson. So then that way I can see if there's any problems that we need to correct, like, you know, how you're holding the yarn or how you're holding the needle, that kind of thing. And I would like to catch any problems early so that we don't ingrain bad habits in you. I will tell you, when I taught myself how to knit, I was knitting wrong for almost a year before I figured it out. And it was really difficult to unlearn the backwards knitting that I was doing. So that's why I say it would be best if I could see a video of you demonstrating the technique so that I can see how you do it and we can make any corrections along the way. So that's it. That's the introduction. I can't wait to get started, and I can't wait to turn you into a crocheter. Bye.